What's going on, everybody? Dominic back with another awesome video today, walking through a really exciting case study that we had earlier this year, late into last year, bringing a Shopify brand from about 18,000 a month to about $419,000 a month in just 90 days. Now I know those numbers are absolutely ballistic, and it was awesome. It was one of the best case studies I've ever been involved in. It was really exciting, and the brand is just incredible. So we're going to walk through kind of the systems that we took on how to do that, a little bit about the brand, a little bit about their product, and hopefully just kind of deliver some value into some insights you guys can take on your Shopify brands as well. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Dominic Mayu. I run a an e-com based agency, helping Shopify brands scale their revenue up to millions of dollars of profitable revenue every single month. So without further ado, I suppose we'll just get right into it. So just looking at their stats right when we signed. So we started working with these guys in late August of 2023. So here's their August numbers, bringing in about $18,000 of revenue, converting at about 0.85%. So that's when we started working with them. They'd been around for a little while before this, had just never really had the chance to scale. They tried to scale their marketing, but every time they scaled their marketing, this number never really went up. It'd actually go down, and they just weren't profitable. So they needed to find a different solution that was outside of just send more traffic. Now, I would say 80% of e-com brands fall into this sector. It's when you try to scale, conversion rate either isn't high enough currently, or it drops and doesn't allow you to scale profitably. So that's one of the most important elements to scaling a successful e-com brand, is ensuring that all of these metrics make sense along the way. So here's their 90-day trajectory, their revenue. So like I said, we signed them in mid to late August and pretty much got working right away. So we saw an immediate huge lift into September. And then October, obviously just another one. And then things just went ballistic for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Now, obviously this is over the holiday period, so it's a little bit skewed here. But I will say in previous years, they had never really taken advantage of the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period. So this was a huge month for them. Here's their 90-day conversion rate. So as we saw above, they started at less than 1%. Now immediately we jumped to 2.71% in September, and then just a massive jump in October, and then a little bit higher in November. So converting at 6.5% in the month of November is pretty freaking amazing. And they just absolutely crushed it. I mean, their margins over this period were just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm going to walk you guys through kind of our process on how we did this and how we set this up. I do want to set a disclaimer that we're not going to actually mention the brand name here. I want to keep them private. And I also want to say they also brought in and scaled their marketing over this period. Now, obviously, doing 18,000 a month here, they scaled their marketing with my efforts. So really, it was a blend of my revenue optimization systems, and they brought on an incredible ads team to start scaling that revenue as well. So I can't take obviously 100% credit. If they sent the same amount of traffic they're sending here, even if they were converting at 6%, that would still only be about 120,000, because that'd be about a 6x. Maybe about 150,000 in revenue. So still not bad as far as what I was doing, but they still scaled their traffic quite a bit as well. So I do just want to kind of clarify that. So we'll start with some of their product characteristics, right? So one of the biggest things, and something that I really recommend to most e-com owners, is that they marketed to a wealthier audience. So the customer avatar, the people that were buying their products, were more than likely on the wealthier demographic side of things. Now, if you're new to starting an e-com brand, I highly recommend going this route. It is so much easier to sell to people that have money than to sell to people that don't have money. So think of any kind of interest or hobby-based things that maybe people who do those have money. So, for example, that could be cars, that could be golf, that could be vacations. that could be high end whiskey. I don't know. It could be a million different things, but when you're kind of mapping that stuff out, if you can system your product to market to a wealthier audience, it's going to make your life easier. Is it a must all be all? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if you're new to ecom and you're trying to figure out what to sell, this is a good way to start. Now, the most important piece is that it does solve a direct problem. Now, I will say this one is not an end all be all. This one is. If it does not solve a direct problem, it is not going to be able to scale. It is not going to sell. Do not launch a product that doesn't sell a legitimate problem. So their product solved a direct problem and they marketed to a wealthier audience. It was also fairly unique, which made it a lot easier. They didn't have a ton of major competitors in the space. They definitely had competitors. It wasn't, a one of a kind product by any means. But it wasn't an extremely saturated market like drinkware, apparel, things like that. So that definitely made it a little bit easier as well. Is their product solved a problem, and it was fairly unique. There wasn't a ton of competitors already in the space, and they had a higher AOV in the 100+ range, which also made a big impact with pretty solid margins in this AOV as well. So here's the timeline. So like I said, we signed in mid to late August and immediately started with our data dive. Now, this is the most important piece of what we do by far. It is learning about the audience and their demographics, right? This sets us up for everything else that we do. So typically this takes about 1 to 2 weeks. We go in and we figure out every single minute detail about the customers. We use Google Analytics, we use Shopify reports, we use Microsoft Clarity, we use AI. We use every possible tool we can to just figure everything about their customer base out. Okay, so this is the backbone of what we do. And really what sets us apart. This is the most important thing that you can start with. So obviously that's what we started with. We analyzed their funnel. We figured out as many insights as we could about their customers. And then after analyzing their funnel, what we always like to do is start with a big win, right? We want to start with something that we can implement quick and find a big win, because a full redesign takes time, right? It takes time to design, it takes time to study, it takes time to write, and it takes time to code. So what we typically like to do is, after running this data dive, okay, what's something that we can launch the next week, in the next week or two, that's going to create, a big uplift? And for this brand, it was really a new checkout. So their checkout drop off was at about 80%. They were on Plus because they had owned a couple other stores as well. So it was super easy to go in and optimize the heck out of their checkout. There's also a few major bugs that were on the theme, and a bunch of products that were sold out and had been sold out for a long time. They weren't planning on restocking. So these were really 3 easy things that we could implement that would cause an immediate lift, and it did. These 3 things are really what brought that conversion rate up from about that 0.85% to that 2.71 that we saw in the above screenshots. And then after that, that's when we started just working on the entire new theme, right? We figured out their theme and their design was just kind of crap. So this doesn't apply to every partner that we bring on as far as like a full redesign. But for them, it was absolutely necessary. So we took their entire theme, redesigned it from top to bottom, their entire funnel, homepage, collections, product pages, and cart. The checkout was already done, obviously. Designed it all, coded it all, and launched it. In this theme, we integrated a shitload of social proof. Now, this brand was lucky enough to have so much social proof, from celebrities to just a ton of amazing reviews from your average Joe. So we implemented so much social proof across the board, from, in literally all of these steps. We rewrote all the headlines, the copy, and imagery directly targeted at our target audience. Now, when they initially designed the site, they obviously didn't really know who they were selling to. Most people have an idea in their head, but typically either that idea is wrong or they don't actually know how to write to those people. Which is super easy. If you have this, or if you have the data dive piece done, figuring this piece out is super easy, especially with the imagery. Just use imagery of people in your audience doing things that your audience likes to do. Again, if maybe golfing is a hobby that your customer audience is going to have, your avatar, use pictures of their age group, their gender, golfing. Like, it's that easy. And then write the rest of the copy to those people. We also cleaned up the design for a more premium and masculine feel. They were, it was a pretty cookie cutter website at first. And we found that 90% of their purchasers were men. So, we really went after that kind of masculine feel, that more premium design. And then we integrated cross sells, upsells, etc. So that was really what we saw, that huge lift from that 2.71 up to that 6% conversion rate was right when we launched this new theme. We just saw the numbers go absolutely through the roof. And then in November, really, we just prep for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Typically in the month of November, we're not really running split tests anymore. We're not making a ton of changes to the front end just because we don't want to break anything. We want to make sure that we set ourselves up for success over that time period. So obviously we built, giant sales timers. I have very specific techniques that I use for most of my partners across the board for how we run the sales. I launch timers almost every single time on the website, because timers make money at the end of the day. So, really that's what we did in November, is just prep for all of that. We built out some more sequences, some more personalization stuff, etc., but nothing really crazy. And this is really what led to just these giant spikes in revenue, bringing it from the 18 bringing it from 18 to that 0.85 to, that $419,000 in the month of November, and the 6.49 conversion rate with 100 plus AOV, which is just crazy, just so crazy. So, yeah, that's really this case study. I hope that this kind of provided some value as far as product development timeline, what you should be doing. If you take anything from this video, it's just learn about your customers. Actually, like, look at the data, learn about your customers, and redesign your website based on that. Now, if you are an ecom brand doing at least 10,000 a month, schedule a call with me below and we can see if we can do the same thing for your brand. I'd love to take a look and see what we can do. In the meantime, leverage our, that's supposed to say R, not out, leverage our custom GPT CRO trained AI bot. We actually implemented a ton of PDFs and spent hours training this GPT-4 bot. So the link for that is below. You do need Shopify Plus, but this is totally free for you to download and play around with. This will help write really good copy, emails. It can write YouTube scripts, for your brand. It can really do anything. So I hope this video helped, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.